Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new Pokemon TCG video. Today guys we're going to be taking a look at a deck revolving around the Primal Clash Nidoqueen through the usage of his Dynamite Punch attack and a Muscle Band or a Silver Bangle. The Nidoqueen can perform those massive one-hit EX knockouts thanks to the Omega Barrage Ancient Traits ability. Pretty nice Pokemon. Really dislike the fact though that our Nidoqueen's Dynamite Punch attack actually has some recoil to it. So over the span of the game, our Nidoqueen could actually be knocking himself out. I actually think that this is one of the worser Omega Barrage type Pokemon that we have been seeing. Much more, I prefer the Medicham a whole lot more than the Nidoqueen, and I also prefer the Excadrill much more than the Nidoqueen. Again, really dislike the fact that our Pokemon does have the recoil damage, but we are going to try and make it work anyways. I've had to tweak this deck a lot, and this was ultimately what I came up with, and it does seem to be performing relatively well, but nowhere near as well as I would like to. So with that being said, guys, let's actually discuss some of the cards that we are running in combination with our Nidoqueen. So we will be running a total of 3 Dimension Valleys. This is just so that we can actually use the Dynamite Punch attack for a mere 2 energy attachments as opposed to 3. Dimension Valley pretty nice, so we will be running a total of 3 copies of this. Pretty crucial stadium card, helps out a whole ton of pretty much helps out all of the Pokemon in our deck, but we're also running another stadium card as well, and that is the Verbank City Gem. Reason why we're running Verbank City Gem is because the Nidoqueen, through the usage of its Poison Jab attack, poisons our opponent's Pokemon. Now, if we happen to have a Silver Bangle attached to the Nidoqueen as well, we can hit 60 damage and then 120 damage to our opponent's active EX Pokemon because we are able to attack twice. And then with the poison damage overturn, we could potentially knock out our opponent's EX Pokemon. And again, we want to refrain ourselves from really using the Dynamite Punch attack. So it is actually a pretty nice stadium card, guys. So we are going to be running a single copy of it. Could come in handy with respects to certain types of situations. Some other Pokemon that we are running in our deck, guys, the Sigilif. Not really going to be an attacker per se. We're mainly going to be using him for his Safeguard ability, preventing our opponent's active EX Pokemon from dishing out any damage to him. We may use his Psychic attack depending on the situation, but ideally, we just want to use him to sort of absorb the damage from our opponent's active EX Pokemon while we load up our bench and then the Nidoqueen. And again, so the Nidoqueen can actually dish out a whole lot of damage and perform those big knockouts. And we also have the Mewtwo EX as well. Very solid Psychic type Pokemon. Given that all of the Pokemon in our deck are Psychic types and we are running the Dimension Valley, Mewtwo EX's X-Ball attack can get going for a single energy, and the Side Drive can hit for a massive 120 for a mere 2 energy attachments. Very solid Pokemon, guys. So we are going to be running 2 copies of him. He's going to be one of the main attackers in our deck alongside with the Nidoqueen. We're going to be using them interchangeably though, depending on the situation. Some of the item cards we are running in our deck, guys. First of all, let's discuss the Ace Pack. We have a high reliance in our deck on our item type cards. Again, for example, cards like the Rare Candy and the Dimension Valley and our Verbank City Gem. So we do want to win the Stadium Wars, so Dowsing Machine is going to allow us to do that. We're only running a single copy of the Verbank City Gem. If we happen to have it discarded and we want to reuse it and grab it out from our discard pile, Dowsing Machine may just save the day for us right then and there. So we are going to be running this as our Ace Spec card as opposed to the Computer Search, for example. On some other cards that we're running, guys, the Escape Rope and Switch. You guys know what these cards do. Switch pretty much allows us to switch any of our bench Pokemon with our active Pokemon. Escape Rope does the same thing as well. However, our opponent is forced to switch their bench Pokemon with their active Pokemon as well. Can definitely be helpful to include a single copy of both types. Because I mean, there's certainly some that come in handy with respects to different types of situations. So we are going to be including both in our deck. The Rare Candy, of course, we are running an evolution line for Nidorans, 2 Nidorinas, and 4 Nidoqueens. If we happen to get any of our Pokemon knocked out, Rare Candy works exceptionally well in combination with the Teammates card because we can use that to grab out a Nidoqueen and the Rare Candy as well. Rare Candy is just very important to allow us to skip that stage 2 evolution and bring out our Nidoqueen that much earlier. Some other stadium cards, guys, that I do want to briefly mention is we're running only 2 Junipers in our deck, and we're running 2 Professor Birches in our deck. Sorry, 2 Professor Birches Observations in our deck. Reason being is that we are running an evolution line. We don't want to be discarding any of our evolution line through the usage of cards such as the Juniper. So we're going to be running only 2 copies of Juniper and 2 Professor Birch's Observations, which works quite nicely in this deck. Again, a bit of a gamble though, in case we do happen to flip details, but overall pretty solid supported card. So we are going to be running a total of 2 copies of Professor Birch's Observations in our deck. Some of the other cards that we're briefly going to go over, guys, is we'll be running a total of 3 Ultra Balls, 2 VS Seekers, 2 Colress, 2 Lysanders, and 4 Ents, 2 Skylas as well. We're also going to be running a total of 3 Muscle Bands, the Silver Bangle, because most of our Pokemon are non-EX types, and we can dish out a whole lot more damage. Again, could potentially be used in combination with our Nidoqueen and potentially with the Verbank City Gym to knock out an EX Pokemon in a single turn. So pretty nice. So we are going to be running a single copy of that. And we're running a total of 10 energies, 12 energies, 10 of them being these Psychic energies and 2 of them being Mystery energies. Nice thing about Mystery energy is that, especially against, say, a Seismitoad EX deck where we're unable to use cards such as our Escape Rope and the Switch, latch on a Mystery energy to one of our Pokemon, and then we can go and retreat. Our deck is actually an incredibly potent anti-Seismitoad EX deck, especially because our Mewtwo EX can get going just so quickly and hit for a ton of damage. So Mystery Energy is a pretty nice card, can come in handy with respects to different types of situations, so we will be running 2 copies of that. So with that, guys, let's go and see this deck in action. Sorry, one other thing that I did want to briefly mention about the Mystery Energy, the reason why we're only running a total of 2 copies of it in our deck as opposed to 4 is, of course, because the Enhanced Hammer is in the current standard format, so it's going to make life quite difficult for us. So we're only restricting it to 2. Otherwise, I would love to actually run a total of a total of 4 copies of Mystery Energy. But again, Enhanced Hammer is quite troubling for us. Our opponent is running a Verzian EX, Genesect EX type deck. So we are going to probably have a relatively difficult game. I could use the Escape Rope, but I think for now I'm actually just going to use the N or the Skyla. Just thinking, guys, what I would actually like to do for the time being. Okay, so let's actually use the Skyla and look for the Ultra Ball. Don't really want to risk a one-hit knockout, so we're gonna grab out the Ultra Ball and then discard the Teammates card and the N. And look for the Mewtwo EX, I think would be a wise option. Possibly the Sigilif as well. You know what? We're actually going to look for the Sigilif, guys, because he is a wall to our opponent's Pokemon. And provided that Genesect EX doesn't actually have the cannon attachment to him, he won't really be able to do anything. So let's go and attach a Psychic Energy to our Sigilif for now. Not going to use the Escape Rope just yet, but we will be using it during our next turn before we actually use our N. And okay, so our opponent is actually going to attach a Grass Energy to his Verzian EX. Again, we do have the Escape Rope, so if our opponent does decide to retreat his Genesect EX, he may just have to bring out another one of his Pokemon again. Okay, so it looks like he's not bringing out the Verzian EX just yet. So I still think it would be the wiser option to actually switch into a Sigilif. So let's actually use the Escape Rope. Chances are we are going to see that Verzian EX come out. And let's go and use the N. Hopefully we get our Stadium card. Unfortunately, we didn't actually get the Dimension Valley. So let's go and lay down the Nidoran. And with that, we are going to have to end our turn. At least our opponent's Genesect EX can't attack in this turn. So okay, our opponent's actually going to use the Escape Rope as well. So I guess we're going to bring out our Nidoran. Our opponent's probably going to retreat that Genesect, yeah, and then the Verzian EX is going to knock out our Nidoran. Unfortunately, we will be bringing out our Sigilif though, and start dishing out a bit of damage to our opponent's Pokemon. Again, the Omega. Sorry, I forgot what the attachment was called. The one that we latch onto the Genesect EX. I haven't really been playing with Genesect EX decks recently, so my apologies for that, guys. Okay, so thinking what we should actually do, and we can actually use the Teammates card to evolve. Yeah, so you know what? I'm actually gonna grab out the Teammates card and then get one of our Nidoqueen lines set up. So let's go and use the Teammates to grab out a Rare Candy and our Nidoqueen. Just seeing. Okay, so there's the Rare Candy. and here is a Nidoqueen. So let's actually go and set him up, and then we're gonna go and start dishing out some damage using our Sigilif. So only 80 damage, unfortunately, not enough. Sorry, 70 damage. So this is why we don't really want to use Sigilif all that much. Not a very potent attacker per se, and probably going to be using the Ultra Ball to discard our Verbank City Gym and Inner card, and probably using our Professor Birch's observations to grab out a Nidorina. Again, we do want to get our evolution line going. Our opponent is going to knock out our other Nidoran as well, though, due to that Genesect EX and its red signal attack. Okay, so now I could bring out our Nidoqueen, and chances are we will be able to knock out our opponent's Nidoqueen, just because we do have the muscle bands and the we have the muscle bands, and we also have can't I'm sorry guys, I don't really know why I can't really think of the cards off the top of my head right now, but let's go and lay down the Dimension Valley, use the Ultra Ball to grab onto our last Nidoran. Unfortunately, our opponent has slowly been knocking them out. And then we will be using the Juniper as well. Sorry, the Silver Bangle. There's the word. So it looks like we have just drawn onto the Muscle Band. So let's go and knock out that Verzian EX. And then draw onto one of our prize cards. Provided our opponent doesn't have his item card as well, that Genesect EX actually won't be able to knock out our Nidoqueen just yet. And if we do happen to draw onto an energy card, our Nidoqueen could potentially knock out the Genesect EX, because we do have the Dimension Valley laid down on the field, and through the use of the Dynamite Punch, we may just be able to knock him out, but the Nidoqueen would simultaneously knock him out as well. So G-Booster, there we go, that was the card that I was looking for, and unfortunately that Genesect EX is going to perform the one-hit knockout on our Nidoqueen. And our opponent has 4 prize cards remaining. So do we, though. Looks like it will be a relatively close game. So I will be bringing out our Sigilif for now. I think would be a wise option. Because that Genesect EX could actually knock us out. So I'm actually thinking whether or not I would like to do that, or bring out a Mewtwo EX instead. Because if our Mewtwo EX does happen to get knocked out, and our opponent is unable to retrieve his G-Booster, then our Sigilif may just be a more potent Pokemon later on. But I think I'm actually going to bring out the Sigilif for now. Let me see how many Plasma Energies our opponent has remaining. Okay, so he's already used up 3 of them. So hopefully any of our Mewtwo EXs would not actually get lured out. So we can use the Ultra Ball to actually look out for a Nidoqueen, which I think is what I'm going to do. So let's go and discard the Colress and the one of our Dimension Valleys as well. I don't really think our opponent is running any Stadium type cards. Grab out the Nidoqueen and then evolve the Nidoran into the Nidoqueen. And then we're going to be using either the N or the Colress. I think I'm actually going to use the Colress right now. Our opponent only has 5 cards in his hand. I don't think he should have anything too useful. I could actually use the VS Seeker as well to grab out the Teammates card and look for some energies, which I think may actually be the best move in this current situation. So let's actually use the Teammates card and look for a Psychic Energy and a switch. A Psychic Energy, and we don't have any more Nidorans or anything like that, so we actually can't get that going. So let's actually look for 2 Psychic Energies. Oops, sorry, just lagging a little bit, guys. So 2 Psychic Energies attach a Psychic Energy to our Nidoqueen, and then hit our opponent's Genesect EX for only 70 damage. Unfortunately, not enough to knock him out, but our Nidoqueen should hopefully be able to actually knock out that Genesect EX on our next turn. So we could either use the Poison Jab with, say, a Muscle Band attachment or a Silver Bangle. I'm assuming our opponent's actually going to lure out our Nidoqueen again, possibly. No, so it looks like he wants to get rid of that Sigilif first. And Skyla, our opponent, is going to use. So I'm probably actually going to be using the so I will be using the N to lower the number of cards in our opponent's hand to a mere 2. Don't really want our opponent to use the Juniper on us, so let's go and bring out the Nidoqueen. Let's go and attach an energy card to him right now. And okay, really hoping that we don't have to use our Dynamite Punch attack, because then that Genesect EX could potentially knock us out. So let's actually go and use the N, and hopefully we get into we draw into one of our Muscle Bands or the Silver Bangle. Okay, so it looks like we are quite lucky. We have just drawn onto the Silver Bangle, so we will be able to knock out that Genesect EX. Let's use the Poison Jab, attack twice, and then draw onto 2 prize cards. And okay, so things are looking pretty good right now. we could potentially knock out our opponent's Genesect EX on the next turn using. Okay, so he does have the Muscle Band attachment to him. So now using Dynamite Punch would actually knock out our Nidoqueen, which is something that I terribly do dislike. Okay, so our opponent's actually not going to attack, so that's going to mean that we are going to win the game. Absolutely no idea, guys, why the Genesect EX did not attack. But you know what? A victory is a victory. So let's go and take it by using the Dynamite Punch attack twice. And yeah, so very very weird, guys. Absolutely no idea. Again, why our opponent's Genesect EX did not attack us. But if you guys did enjoy this video, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. And with that being said, guys, I will see you guys next time. It looks like we didn't really. Again, my apologies for all these sort of little pronunciation mistakes as well. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.